So what is Azure Data Lake Storage? Regardless of the generation, this service is a hyperscale repository for big data analytics workloads. You can use this service to capture data of any size, type, and ingestion speed in one single place for later analytics. Azure Data Lake Storage can be accessed from Hadoop using the compatible REST APIs. And this service is tuned for performance for data analytics scenarios. Being a managed service inside Microsoft Azure, Azure Data Lake Storage includes enterprise-grade capabilities such as security, manageability, scalability, reliability, and high availability. Azure Data Lake Storage comes in two generations, the Generation 1 and Generation 2. Generation 2, which is the focus of this module, converges the capabilities of Azure Blob Storage and Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 1. Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2 is a set of capabilities dedicated to big data analytics, and it is built on top of the Azure Blob Storage. This service combines the great features from Data Lake Generation 1, such as file system semantics, file-level security, and scalability, with the low-cost, high availability, and disaster recovery from Azure Blob Storage. Microsoft recommends Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2 for your big data storage needs. Azure Data Lake Storage is designed for enterprise big data analytics. It makes Azure Storage the foundation for building enterprise data lakes on Azure. It supports hundreds of gigabits of throughput. It also allows you to manage massive amounts of data. A fundamental part of Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2 is the addition of hierarchical namespace on top of blob storage. You can use slashes in the document names to mimic a hierarchical directory structure. So let's take a look at the key features of Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2. It is Hadoop compatible, so you can manage your data in the same way as you did with Hadoop HDFS. The POSIX permissions are supported by Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2, so you can specifically set permissions on your document and data inside Azure Data Lake Storage. I have added a link in the course files if you want to read more about POSIX permissions. And finally, comparing to Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 1, the Generation 2 is much cheaper because it is built on top of the low-cost Azure storage. Provisioning an Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2 is easy. We have done it in this course multiple times. To be able to provision an Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2, you need to create an Azure Storage account, and that's all you need to do. There is one specific setting for Azure Data Lakes Generation 2, which allows you to enable or disable the hierarchical namespace for your storage. We are going to take a look at this option in the module's demo. Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2 can be used with Hadoop for big data analytics, and this is out of the scope of this course. If you'd like to learn more about Data Lake Storage Generation 2, I am recommending this great course by Xavier Morera in the Pluralsight library. I am going to add a link to this course in the module files. Now let's go ahead and see Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2 in action.